Hey everybody, welcome to the Homegrown Heroes podcast. I'm Mike Ka, your host. Take this journey with me as we talk story with some of the best and brightest of these islands who started from humble beginnings to making an impact across the globe. Please take a moment to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's meet this week's Homegrown Hero. Hey everybody, welcome to Homegrown Heroes. Today I have the privilege of interviewing Miss Moani Hara. She's the former Miss Hawaii in 2014, and since then a model, actress, and news reporter, and not to mention, she is locally born and raised in Honolulu. She has become a role model and a hero to many young people. I'm really excited about this interview with Moani. Moani is just delightful to talk to, and it's an incredible story that there's more behind the veil and more behind that tiara than you expect. So listen in. It's an incredible time, such a privilege and an honor to interview the very first woman on Homegrown Heroes. More to come with Moani Hara. Hey everybody, welcome to the Homegrown Heroes podcast with Moani Hara, and I'm so excited for this interview. Moani, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi, guys.
Hey, it's good to have you. You know, you have the distinction of being the very first woman that I'm interviewing here on the Pound for Pound podcast, and I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited. First woman.
Yeah.
So,
the first of many. The first of many.
First of many. Yes.
So, Moani, maybe a lot of people probably recognize you as being on billboards and on commercials. From Ala Moana to, I even remember seeing you on the Assets School commercial, which I thought was fabulous when I first saw you there. And but I would love for people to get to know who you are and just tell us a little bit about your story of how you started. Of course, we'll get there to Miss Hawaii USA in 2014, just 6 years ago. How does that feel? Does it feel like it's a long time ago or just yesterday?
I definitely feel old now, but it's okay.
Hey, compared to me.
A while back. No, you look good. You look good. No, when I think about it, and wow, it's been 6 years. It's crazy. It's been a definite, a lot of ups and a lot of downs.
Yeah, but you know, a great story on how you got there. Tell us about where you grew up and what that was like with your parents. Tell us about your family structure.
Sure. So I grew up in Niuanu, born and raised. I am an only child. My mom had a very hard time, so it took her 10 years to have me. So I was a miracle baby.
Wow.
Extremely close to my mom and dad, my family. If I wasn't with my mom and dad, I was with my Grammy or my tutu. My tutu actually lived with me and my parents at the time. So that's pretty much my upbringing. I was a tomboy. I played soccer, did volleyball. I know you are probably going to disagree with me when I say this, but I did play basketball. I did try. Wasn't the best.
It's a hard sport.
It's a hard sport. I just couldn't get into it, but I did try. My dad told me that I needed to try. So I did. And then I did paddling for Outrigger Canoe Club, and I was the steersman for the girls 16.
Wow, the steersman.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a cruise job back there.
I was a little bit more built.
Oh, okay. Yep. Right on. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what would you say was your favorite sport then growing up?
I loved volleyball and soccer. I was really big in volleyball and soccer. I don't know what it was, but it was just, to me, I was always so excited to get on the field or on the court. And just really have that camaraderie with the players and just have that really dedication and drive and focus. That was something that I really loved.
Two definite different skill sets. Soccer is a lot of lower body, and volleyball is some lower body, but a lot of upper body. And I have two of my youngest daughters. They all played volleyball and they love volleyball, club volleyball, you name it. You know, we're like gym rats on the weekends, take off from church on Sunday, don't preach, go to the clubs, do all that stuff. It's pretty awesome. So can I ask you, what nationality are you?
I am what you would call mixed plate. So I am Hawaiian, Japanese, Chinese, Dutch, Irish, Portuguese.
Only in Hawaii, right?
Only in Hawaii.
Exactly.
So what exactly are you? Well, I'm like 10 things.
Yeah, I just got off of an interview with a company that they're doing our new website, so they wanted to know more about me, and I told them I'm Hawaiian, Chinese, Filipino, Italian, named a bunch of other stuff, and they're like, "Wow!" I said, "Hey, we were multicultural before the word even came up." So that's Hawaii. That's what I love about Hawaii. So growing up in Hawaii, I know you've probably seen a lot of parts of the world. What do you think is the uniqueness of people who are young in Hawaii that makes them believe that they can become a Miss Hawaii?
You know, gosh, to be completely honest, when I was little, I was extremely shy and very timid, and tomboy. Did not think I was going to be in heels at all. In fact, when I told my dad I wanted to stop playing sports and do dancing for a little bit, he was extremely bummed, but very supportive. And that was probably like one of the worst days of his life. No. But my mom put me into modeling. And I think from there, I just really gained confidence. And my parents always told me, whatever you want to do, you can really put your mind to it. Mm-hmm. You know, you did mention I went to asset school, so I have a learning disability. I'm dyslexic. So really working through that and trying to rebuild my confidence, because at, you know, the time before I got diagnosed, I didn't have any confidence. I just thought I was stupid or dumb. And going to assets and having amazing teachers and staff, and just being around students that were like me, it gave me confidence, and it gave me a boost to be like, you know what, I can do whatever I want to do as long as I'm focused. I really key into what I want. And that's when I started to do pageants. And Malika Dudley was the first person to introduce me to Miss Hawaii Outstanding Teen.
Yeah, she's pretty remarkable. She was a Miss Hawaii herself, wasn't she?
She was, and she is married to my cousin. So I get her for life.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, she's done great for herself. I know she's on Maui right now, but also was working on the news and as a journalist, and did a great work. And I like that. I don't understand the pageant community, but I do have friends that are in that community. And there's a lot of mentoring that goes on in order, not just on the outside, but on the inside. And I don't know if you know Lani Ka'a'a, so she helps mentor some people who run for pageants and whatnot, and pretty awesome. Tell me about that phase of your life. But really before that, I'd love to talk about, you hit on it on the dyslexia and how you overcame that, and you went to a great school. But there's a lot of people right now listening to this podcast who are either had a learning disability or struggling right now with their own self-confidence for whatever reason. And you overcame that. And I'd love for you to speak to that and how that happened for you.
Okay, so when it all started at St. Andrew's Priory. So I was there since kindergarten. In the fourth grade, I really struggled. I struggled in math, all of the above. It was very frustrating. I would be in school all day. I would go to my tutor right after school, be there for 2 hours, and then have to come home and do the rest of my homework and think I got it when I was with my tutor, and then I didn't. And so my principal at St. Andrew's Priory told my parents, I think you should just get Moani tested and really see, if it is. And if it is, then she can go to a school that can really help and get the necessary tools needed. So from there, I got tested, found out I had a learning disability. I was really embarrassed. I've been called everything under the sun, from retarded to you're stupid.
Oh my. Wow.
And that really brings a young girl's confidence and self-esteem down. So, my mom was like, it's okay. You're going to do great. You're going to really strive. And I went to asset school, and that's literally where my life turned around. Like, wow. I am not just saying it just to say it. Yeah. I will never forget my first teacher ever at asset school, Sharon Kritzler and Jason Wagner. They made my transition from one school to a new school that had a completely different curriculum, learning-based style. It was the most amazing experience of my life. So I'm really thankful for that.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that your parents had the confidence and the wherewithal to have you tested and to even make the financial investment into that. And look at where you are today. So it's pretty amazing. Sounds like you have some incredible parents. I
do. My mother is very strong-willed. And so she's always instilled in me that I need to never take no for an answer, be gracious at all times, and always lead with grace. So.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So at what point did you say, okay, Dad, I want to hang up the cleats, the soccer shoes, I want to hang up the volleyball, and I just want to dance, and I want to go down this road with cousin Malika?
Oh, gosh. When I was 16, I was just like, you know what, honestly, like, I just don't want to play sports anymore. And he was just like, what? Like, he literally just froze. And I think for a little bit, he just thought, oh, it's just a phase. But 15 going into 16, and I was still steering for outrigger. But by the end of me being 16 going to 17, I was like, okay, yep, I think I'm going to dance. I really want to dance. And
what kind of dance? What kind of dance are you talking about? Is that creative, or is this hula?
So I
jazz?
did hip hop. Yeah, so I did hip hop, jazz, and ballet. I danced with 24/7.
Oh, really?
Dance Force. Yeah, Marcella.
Everybody knows that.
So, yes. So that is actually how I got introduced to Malika Dudley, because 24/7 at the time that I joined always danced, did the opening number at Miss Hawaii, America System. So that's how I got, you know, a little bit of taste of a pageant, you know, the pageant world, and then also met Malika Dudley. And then from there, you know, my dad was like, all right, she's never going to go back to sports. So here we go.
Wow. So how many pageants would you say that you participated in?
So I participated in 3 statewide. So I did Miss Hawaii Outstanding Teen. That was my first pageant. Knew nothing about it. Didn't even know how to put makeup on, wear heels. And I won that title. Went to nationals. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
I just walked in and I won. Heels. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't even know how to curl my hair. Like, didn't even know how to put eyeliner. I've come a long way. Like, I've come very far in life. You should be happy that I look like this now. But no, I'm kidding. I went to nationals, and that was a really good experience for me. It was very eye-opening. You know, you're around young girls that their whole life is pageant. So they are bred into it. They know what they're doing. And I was just there like, yep, I'm from Hawaii. I don't really know what I'm getting myself into. Yeah. And then I took a little bit of a break, and I ran for Miss Hawaii America System. So the same system that Malika won. And I was first runner-up. And that, I'm not going to lie, was definitely a hard pill to swallow. I think, you know, people think, oh, pageant world, pageant life, or pageant girl. When there's a lot more to the whole pageant world and being a pageant girl, that whole stigma, you know, I wish that never was a stigma. The girls, or the women actually that run in pageants, are extremely smart. I mean, the dedication, the hard work that goes into it, there's a lot. And I have a huge respect for women that decide to get them, you know, put themselves out there. So it was a hard pill to swallow when I didn't win, but I really understood that everything happens for a reason. And, you know, I'm glad that I didn't win. And that's not me being a poor sport or anything. It's just me understanding that it wasn't my time.
Right.
And, you know, I took a year off, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to run for Miss Hawaii USA. If it happens, it happens. I'm just going to have fun and give it 110%. And I definitely had to fight through a lot of adversity during that whole process, to the point where I did not think I was going to win. So I think my reaction, you can really tell. I'm like, wait, what? But it was fun. It really makes you build, you know, have a really strong backbone.
Yeah, that's can you share with us the difference between the USA America system, the 2 different pageant systems, and would you just differentiate that for us? Sure.
So the America system, if you're looking at from like really out there, America system has a talent. USA does not have a talent. Also, America system at the time that I ran was more heavily into scholastic achievements and scholarships. But, you know, USA now is heavily focused in scholarships and you know, education as well.
That's incredible. So you went from the first runner-up to the Miss America pageant in 2012, took a year off in 13, come back and go the Miss Hawaii USA route, and you win in 2014. Call it a comeback?
It was definitely a comeback, and I was very happy. And I also was really happy that I could have blueberry pancakes right after that.
Talk about the sacrifices. Would you tell us, what are the sacrifices? Because it's not all about how great you look. I mean, there is definitely, that's a part of it. But talk about the sacrifices that you had to make and your family had to make for you to attain that level.
I would have to first say cost. It is very pricey, and you put a lot of money into pageants. So I think that was definitely a really big thing for myself and my family. We did fundraising. That's majority of how all of the women do it. They do fundraisers or they get sponsors. So I did a sponsor letter, but also, you're training 5 days a week. You're dieting really hard. Sometimes you wish you had carbs more in that day than you did the other day. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also like interview prep and having to really, really know yourself, and not just the resume in itself, but also having, I wouldn't say like a strong opinion, but just having your own, I guess you should say, I don't want to say opinion, just having a really good understanding of what's going on in the world and being able to hold a conversation in an interview and not necessarily say, this is what I feel. You need to kind of look at it as the people that are that are the judges, they might feel a different way than me. So I have to kind of work the interview in a way where it's more well-rounded.
I would imagine that you have to be pretty diplomatic in the process, considering everybody else's views in the room. During the interview, we can only imagine that, much like an athlete, you had your strengths and you had maybe a weakness or two that maybe you had to build up that weakness and make it a strength as well, and capitalize on what you are already good at and those things. And then of course the lack of sleep and everybody else is eating whatever they want, but you can't. You got to work out 5 days a week. No cheat days. Maybe there's a few in between. It sounds a very rigorous process, but it's pretty amazing I think I want to applaud you. Congratulations on winning that. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what I love about this is now your career from pageant and your Miss USA, Hawaii, USA, for the next year, you have obligations. And what were those obligations like?
I mean, it was crazy. I had obligations with sponsors from Miss Hawaii USA. I went to nationals for Miss USA. I got to travel a lot. I went to New York. The first thing I did after I won my title is I was on the news very early in the morning the next day. So there's a lot of media, there's a lot of news, there's a lot of events. It's just nonstop. But it's fun. It's really fun. And what I tell the girls that are running, or even the girls that do win, to just really enjoy it and to make your year, because you only have a year. That's all you have.
Did you ever get to the place where before you won the title and while you're going through these pageants, did you ever said to yourself, I feel like I don't want to do this. I feel like quitting. Did you ever get to a point there? Of course you haven't, but you pushed through it. But did you get to that point?
Oh, I did. I wanted to quit so many times. I felt very insecure. And for some women, that's very hard to admit, but I had really bad insecurity issues at the time. There was a lot of negative talk, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was just over it. It wasn't fun for me. And my mom was like, no, you're going to put on a smile. This is what you want to do. You can't let outside voices ruin this whole experience, because there's always going to be someone that's going to say something. So you got to really persevere.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, pretty awesome that everybody has a sticking point. Like there are times in everybody's career and their life where they feel like I can't push through. I got to go to the next level, but I just feel like I'm not cutting the mustard. Maybe I'm not made for this. And it's when God just brings people into your life. And of course you had your mom, and I'm sure you had Malika Dudley as well, who are just lifting you up and helping you. What were the different things that got you through it? Like, did you think, oh man, I will have that ice cream when I'm done with this workout, or I will be able to put on that dress. Like I'm going to feel really good about that. What were the different things that you said to yourself? I'm going to reward myself here every time I'm trying to get to the next level.
I think it was definitely my parents, Malika, my close friends and close family supporting me. But it's just literally like, once you make up your mind, it's like that light switch that goes off in your head and you're like, nope, I'm just going to do it. Yep. There's no reward. There's no nothing. It's just, I'm going to do it. But then also in the back of my head was thinking, okay, if you can get over having a learning disability and being dyslexic and all of the above, you can do this. This is so small, so minuscule compared to what you've gone through in your life. And that really pushed me. And I persevered and I got that title and I went to asset school and I talked to all the kids, and that was my reward, was seeing the kids and their faces light up when they saw me, like, oh my gosh, you can do that. I can't do that.
Wow.
And remembering I was exactly in that same spot, just really second guessing everything that I wanted to do.
I bet you inspired so many kids when you went back to your school and you came back as Miss Hawaii USA, and you walk back there and everybody's like, what? And wow, you actually came from this school, and you it's like you gave them hope and gave them a pathway to one day you can do something, you can achieve something great in your life. It doesn't have to be in this area. It could be in this area. It could be in another area of your life. I love that example. What is one of the, is there anything that stuck with you like through that process or in going into it that made you, that inspired you the most? Where'd you draw inspiration from? I know where you got motivation from. You got motivation from mom and your coaching, but where do you draw your inspiration from?
I think I draw my inspiration from I think with being in the industry or even being in a pageant, people choose to lead by judgment or to just look at you and be like, oh yeah, I know her story, let's move on. But I wanted to be that inspiration of, okay, you can meet me and think whatever you want to think. But when you get to know me, know that all I want to do is inspire and walk into a room and have people ask me questions or be like, how did you overcome this? How did you overcome that? That's what I really want, is to be transparent, is to show people that I have so many faults. That's really what I wanted that's what inspired me, was knowing that I wasn't perfect.
Right.
And that I wanted to really push that to everyone that I met. Because it's easy to just look at someone and be like, oh, she has everything, when that's farthest from the truth.
Yeah, I didn't know the story. What I love about the story is, okay, you can see the crown or the tiara, but let me tell you what the story behind the tiara. And that's an incredible story. Dyslexia, being an athlete, to going into pageant, and some level, you still have to retain that athletic part of you. Self-denial, things that you want, sacrifices you made, going to sleep earlier, waking up earlier, all of that stuff. It actually really, really pays off in people's lives, and you're proving it over and over again. So when you, Moani, when you ended up coming home, a year of your commitment to the pageant was over, how did you transition from one career to the next?
Well, it was very hard to transition just because my life was so fast paced, and then all of a sudden it just went like this.
Right.
But I worked really hard for the whole year that I was Miss Hawaii USA to really make connections, to really kind of line myself up in a place where, whether it was working with, say, for example, Ala Moana, or getting more into modeling or doing more news, I really made sure that in some ways I had a lineup, or I was set to do something else. I have a really hard time staying still, so I think that helped a little bit. But the transition was a little bit rocky, a little bit rough, but I got through it and I made it so that I was still busy. I still worked every other day. But I was more so focused in modeling and commercial work and movies.
I'd love to get to that, but I've talked to athletes who have been on a world stage or made it to the major leagues and pitched in front of 65,000 people. And one of them told me, says, Mike, to be honest with you, it's hard to come down off of that. When you've experienced people, just the rush of the crowd and the atmosphere and the adrenaline, he goes, you don't take a day to get off of that. He goes, you actually take months to get off of that. And most people wouldn't even understand it. I wouldn't understand that because I've never been on that type of global stage like you have, or like my friends have in baseball or football. But I think it's incredible that you've transitioned yourself, because change happens immediately, right? No longer are you are you the what is the word, princess, or the
Well, you're just not you're not the girl anymore.
Yeah.
You have to pass that torch to someone else. And, you're having, it's true. You're having attention after attention. You're in the public eye. You're, going out and about, and then finally to just come home and just sit and be like, okay, what do I do? Like, this is really weird. And I don't know if I like it, but, it's just kind of like, I'm not cool anymore.
Yeah, no, that's not true. But you know what I love about it is you've parlayed that into a great career. So tell us what's going on right now in your life, or what are you really excited about? What you've accomplished? What are you proud of? There's a lot. So tell us.
Let's see. Well, as of recently, I just got done shooting 5 Facts. That's on KITV with Flash and Maleko, so I can talk about that. I am in talk for another show. Unfortunately, I can't really say too much about it, but that's really exciting. And then also, modeling is starting to pick up. This pandemic kind of slowed it down, so getting back into that. Some of the things that I'm really proud of is, moving to LA for a period of time and really knowing what it's like to struggle and to be that small fish in a big pond rather than you being that big fish in a, small pond. I'm really proud of that. I know what it feels like to hustle and to really, really, at one point it was either I pay my rent or get groceries, or pay my rent or pay my Uber, or, walk to a casting instead. I think if I didn't do that, I wouldn't really know what life was about. And that's just like a really small glimpse into life and the ups and downs that you go through. But I would say that is something that I'm really proud of. And then I, was on Snatched with Amy Schumer. So that was really cool.
She's funny.
And she literally is the same. Like how she is in the movies, that's how she is. Like I was like, wait, are we still joking? We cut, but okay. But I think now too, with being 30, and it was funny, I was having a conversation with a really good friend of mine, and I said, I don't know what it is, but I just feel so grounded now. Like in my 20s, I felt like, I don't know, like I was just a million miles per minute, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was too busy trying to fit in or do this or do that. And now I just feel so grounded, and I'm so happy to be home and really embrace like everything that Hawaii has to offer, from the people to my family to my friends to the opportunities that we really have here, and not taking any of that for granted, and also just really pushing. And I've modeled so many swimsuits in my life that it's to the point where that's all people see, or they only see the girl that's in Ala Moana, or the girl that's on, TV. And the one thing that I'm really striving, and I've been striving for, is just transparency and just being real and not having to be perfect every single minute of the day, because I did that for so long.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome to find yourself at 30. A lot of people don't find it till later in life, and to be able to find that groundedness and feeling like you're comfortable in your own skin. That's pretty amazing. So can you tell me, how did you end up at Inspire?
So I ended up there. A good friend of mine, Judy, and Jesus Solitary. I think you've met them a couple of times.
Yeah. They go to our Honolulu campus.
Yes. So Judy was like, you should really come to church. And, I was in church off and on. Then I moved to the mainland, came back, kind of fell off of it for a little bit. And when Judy was like, you know what, just come. There's no pressure. Just come in, just sit. And it was so much fun just being with them and being in the church. And then I did the women's conference with Judy as well. And that experience in itself, oh my gosh, I cried. But
wow. That's amazing.
I cried. I will admit it. I did cry.
Oh, good.
But it's just a sense of feeling at home. And I really appreciate and thank you and everybody at Inspire.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome. I remember when the pandemic first hit, when I was going on at 7:14 a.m. and 7:14 p.m., I'd see Moani Hara. I'd say, hey, Moani, hi, Moani. and I thought
I'm an early bird.
Well, that's crazy. That's crazy great. I think if people woke up more early, more often, I think they'd be much more successful the earlier you wake up. That's what I think. It's pretty awesome that you were always there at 7:14 a.m. Moani, good morning, Moani. And I'm like, oh, Miss Hawaii over there. And I'm looking terrible right now, wearing my baseball cap. It's so funny. But I love that you loved Arise, and the Arise Women's Conference is, of course, we're not meeting physically this year, but I told Lisa, I said, babe, we can add way more speakers now. They don't have to speak for 45 minutes. You can do 20 minutes, boom, 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 boom. And you can get a lot more people in. Who's your favorite last year? Did you like Charlotte Gamble? Did you like Maria Durso, her story?
Oh,
Did
Maria.
you like Lisa?
Maria.
Tell me. Maria.
I really liked Maria.
Mama Maria.
I loved her story. I loved everything about it. Oh God, it was amazing.
We're going to put it on the show notes some way, somehow, that people can get a link to that sermon and watch that. And we can forward it to you as well. Her messages were just incredible. I mean, just to hear the story of how she was a smuggler, right, in Mexico at the time, and how God grabbed a hold of her life, and her life had never been the same. And oh my gosh, the tragedy of her upbringing, right? And in that dormitory, oh my gosh. And, you know, she was go ahead.
Oh, no, what I loved is she was just so transparent and so real. From showing the photos, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, wow. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you know what I love about her is she's still growing. You know that she actually finally has an Instagram account.
Oh, and perfect.
You have to follow her. My wife taught her how to have Instagram, and taught her this is how, and that's funny. I said, if Lisa's teaching somebody how to do Instagram, oh my gosh, we've gone to a whole nother level. I'm so proud of her. And so she got Maria Durso on it, and Maria's amazing. But Moani, what is one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, after all of these things that you've been through, all the things that you've overcome, and who you are today, and there's so much more behind the curtain, what would you say to an 11-year-old girl who's looking in the mirror, and in some way, not necessarily your 11-year-old self, but some 11-year-old girl who's not getting the likes, who's getting bullied on Instagram, who's getting isolated? What a tough world to live in. What would you say to her right now?
It's not about the likes. It's not about the likes at all. It's not about being popular or fighting for that popularity. It's just about being yourself. And, you know, it's easy to kind of get introverted. I mean, I myself am a huge introvert. I don't come across like that. My job makes me look like I'm extroverted, but I am a true introvert at heart. But I think just being real with who you are, and knowing that you are going to have your own personal struggles, whatever they might be, but to still keep fighting and to persevere and to read a book. Don't always go onto social media. It can get tiring. I would even tell her to watch, you know, I think it was Social Dilemma on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's just recently out. I watched that and I was like, that is to a T how social media is. And it's really sad to see the amount of negativity that it brings. So to really have her more so heavily focused on going outside, reading books, connecting with friends. Don't always make everything seem like social media. Because I got to a point where I thought that's all I needed. I needed to chase the likes. I needed to chase posting certain photos. When if you're just going to post a photo of your body, that's great. Appreciate it. But at the same time, think, okay, but what am I attracting? Who are my viewers? What do I want people to really see about me?
I love that. And I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you even more that whole Social Dilemma on Netflix is a must watch. And you're so right. Even guys like me can get caught up in the likes, caught up in, is my message getting across? Is our profile growing, and all of those different things. And it is quite a dangerous rabbit hole that you could fall and get yourself trapped into if you don't get yourself out of it and take breaks from that. Moani, this has been such a great time with you, and I really appreciate. I know that there's so much more that's inside of you, and so much more that God has for you. I really believe that. I've always appreciated and admired your career and just watching how great you're doing and how grounded you are. And I know for sure, Moani, the best is yet to come for your whole life and your career. And it has been a privilege and an honor for you to be at Inspire. And it's an honor for us, actually. And we're so glad. If there's anything we can ever do, please let us know. But Moani, we're looking forward to that. Tell us a little bit more about that TV show that you're doing on KITV before I let you go.
So it's airing right now. It's 5 Facts. It's just getting people in the know about voting and how important it is, from simply what goes on at state capitol, how many House of Representatives there are, Democrats, Republicans. Of course, we're not pushing any candidates. We're just informing everybody. So it's on Saturday at 7 p.m.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, on a little side note, we were really close to getting Homegrown Heroes on KITV. Talked to the general manager. Yes. But I think the first cut that I showed him didn't have enough spice on it. So it didn't have enough photos and B-roll on it. But I bet we sent it back, and maybe they'll reconsider it. We did Keanu Singh, professional surfer, definitely a lot of spice on that. And then Brian Clay, who won the gold medal in the decathlon in 2004, silver in 2008. And now we got Miss Hawaii USA, Moani Hara. It's so good to have you, Moani. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. This has been an amazing time.
Thank you so much. Have an awesome day. Aloha.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Well, wasn't that a great and insightful conversation with Moani Hara? So incredible, so beautiful, so poised, so confident. I absolutely loved it. You know, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the podcast, make sure that you don't miss any more of our conversations with local people who have found great success and influence, not just in Hawaii, but also throughout the world. Hey, everybody, thank you for joining me on this week's Homegrown Heroes episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what you enjoyed the most. You can also find me on Instagram at Mike Kai, and let me know who you would love for me to interview. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next episode of Homegrown Heroes.